Are you ready to learn what red flags keep an eye out for when looking for love?
Then we got you covered. I'm Brianna.
And I'm Alex.
And this is the podcast where we unpack reality TV and call out the bullshit.
So that you show up confidently while dating and in relationships. Welcome to Ditch the Script.
I love it.
Hey there. Hi there, ho there.
Yeah. How are you?
Oh, I feel like I'm probably doing a little bit better than you are right now.
Yeah, I'm running on fumes. Yeah, I'm just...
Fumes.
We're good. I'm going to be okay.
Listen, it's like this sometimes. I think that like we go through periods of our existence where it's just some moments are just a lot, like we're just spread thinner than our norm. And this is one of those.
So for me, this weekend with the events gig, Splash House has been in town. And if you're not familiar with Splash House, it's like basically Coachella pool party version. And so my weekend's been far crazier than it usually is. But, you know, we're here for it and we're making it happen at the same time. So
yeah.
It's only when we have these big events that I feel like I'm losing my mind. Normal event gigs like weddings and all these like production whatever.
You're
we're
like
good.
in
We're
control
Gucci.
of.
Yeah. But it basically like it's all hands on deck for these big events. And so, you know, hence the fumes. But after this, it's chilling like a villain the rest of the evening.
Yeah, it's been like a wild couple of months for you. But I also know that like when we started the podcast, that was when things were really hectic and super crazy for me. I was like moving.
Oh my God.
I was like starting my practice, or like it was building. I wasn't getting paid for a while. Like, so if there's anything that I learned about that time, or like, you know, diving right into what we're doing right now, it's that I feel like I blacked out and I don't even remember it. So you won't remember this either.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of like, okay, this is going to sound so, okay, I haven't had babies, so, and I don't feel like I have a right to compare birthing, like actually going through a birthing process. I will say this, I have heard that about birthing, is like you black out, you forget because then you have kids again and you're like, oh yeah, shit, this is what this is like, right?
Yeah, my mom said that, totally.
That's low-key how I feel about this gig. It's like, yeah, I got it. And then I'm like, oh yeah, these are these big events.
Right. Every season that rolls around. Like, cause I know that April, May, June is really crazy for you because of stuff that's going down in Palm Springs, California.
Yeah.
It's just like event after event after event and like a bunch of weddings, right?
Yeah, I mean, I will say weddings die down now because it's 114. It's 114 degrees all weekend. Yeah, so
Ew.
I'm like, yesterday I had a like mild heat stroke because I came home and took like a lukewarm bath to like cool down, but then it was freezing and then I was like bundled up in a blanket, and so
oh my God.
Yeah, on top of just like trying to carry on an event. So yeah. But, you know, that's why I have my gallon jug of water.
Yeah, you're in a water challenge right now, aren't you?
Far behind. Yeah, so basically, like, the whole sales team at the hotel, we're all, like, kind of holding each other accountable for hydrating. And so we all have our own jugs that we bring, and we kind of root each other on. And when it comes to the eating thing, these people are so great. They're like, oh, my God, I've seen you eating 2 meals today.
Snaps.
Congrats.
We love it.
Yeah, so I know I say this all the time, I adore the people I work with there. Yeah, so it makes it all better. And it's worth it.
Working with people that you like makes doing whatever kind of job you're doing better. Worth it.
100%. Yeah.
When you could have, like, I've had great jobs. Well, is that a true statement? I've had my job right now is great, but I work with no one except for you. And I love that. But I've worked jobs that I enjoyed around people that I did not enjoy, and it was hard to be there. Really hard to be there.
Right. Yeah, I know. I feel for folks that, and I feel like that's pretty common sometimes. It's
Pretty
like if
normal.
you're in an office setting that you don't necessarily get along with your coworkers, it ruins the vibe.
Yeah, totally. But then it's also tough because like you could be doing a job that maybe isn't like goals, because every job has its shit. Every
Yeah,
single job, even the
everything.
really good ones, even if you enjoy it.
Even
But
entrepreneurship, even our own businesses. Yeah.
girl, yes. So, but like working with people that you really love is such a blessing, but it's also a fragile state because sometimes it takes one person to change
Ruin
their
it
life
for the
circumstance and
bunch.
leave. I know. I'm usually that person. I'm usually like, I'm leaving. Bye. And then the whole thing crumbles. You know, one person breaks the dam and then everyone
Yeah, and
starts
it all
leaving.
just comes crumbling. Oh God, don't say that. That would break my heart.
Sorry. I
It's
know.
okay. We're just
Maybe
gonna
it
put
won't
good juju
happen.
out there. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
good
not going
juju.
to.
Good juju.
I'm gonna force
We're
people
out
to
of
stay.
Yeah, we're out of Mercury's retrograde.
Yay!
Oh, can we talk about something for a second?
Of course. Isn't
Sure.
that the premise
We're
of the
gonna.
show?
Yeah, we're gonna. Talking about astrology on dates. How do you feel about it?
I don't like it.
Okay, tell
And
me
my
why.
boss would hate me because Kayla, if you're listening to this, I love you so much. She's so into astrology, and I think that's great.
Uh-huh.
I think being into astrology is amazing. Same with human design, same with Myers-Briggs. This goes for any of that, right? Like,
Yeah.
no matter whatever you ascribe to, and you're like, I believe in this. I challenge you to be more open-minded, because my belief personally is that although these things may have a correlation with who we are as people, I don't think we're cemented to how our astrological sign defines us.
I agree.
And so I think when people are like, going off of compatibility based off of what this, random website about astrology or Myers-Briggs or whatever says I'm compatible with, I think you really shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Because you really like close yourself off. And I think what it starts off as an idea of this is a conversation starter. This is a good way to like get to know, help this person get to know me or me to get to know them. But I think sometimes if the other person's not curious about it, if you can have a curious conversation about it, like,
yeah, I
don't know, you should probably fuck later on that date. I'm saying,
yeah,
but I think
Go
that
for it.
if the other person isn't interested in it, they're going to start to feel like you're putting them in a box.
Yeah.
Or you might feel like you're putting yourself in a box, or you're putting them in a box, and they like can't get out of it. I have a very novice
same
understanding of astrology and like just like main qualities. But if I do bring it up, like if I do bring it up on a date, I try to like make that well aware that like I really don't know what I'm talking about, and so like anything that's going to come out of my mouth is like just for funsies.
Yeah.
For instance, I was talking to someone and he was like, yeah, I'm a Leo. And I was like, cool. Like, what do you know about, how do you identify with being a Leo? Like, what about being a Leo is like something that you like? And he was
Leo
talking
like
about
for
it.
You.
Yeah. What's Leo life like? And he's talking about it. And I was like, do you know anything else about like any of the other signs? Like, I'm a Libra. Do you know anything about them? He was like, not really. And I was like, oh, that's such a Leo quality. and I think that can be playful, but also maybe someone could hear that and be like, what the fuck do you know?
Yeah.
Not much. The answer is not much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. I think context is huge. And I think having an exploratory conversation is totally fine. But I think it's like, what's your sign? Oh, I'm not compatible with Sagittarius, or like whatever it is. I think like having... Yeah, I feel like, look, regardless, y'all need to do you, right? And if that's if astrology is like religion for you, go for it. And I think that there is beauty in being open-minded to different signs and just people. Like, humans are humans. We have so much autonomy in the life and the lifestyle that we create for ourselves that, again, to harp back on what I said before, I don't think like my sign as a Pisces defines me. A lot of people don't even realize I'm a Pisces. They're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, my moon is Taurus. And they're like, that I get. Like, I get the Taurus vibe with you, but I don't get. So it's like, if you're going to see.
Yeah, but they've never seen you at the beach. They've never seen you at the beach. You love the water. You're like a little flippy floppy fish.
Water. I know. That's why I take a bath every night. Yeah, there's something about body water for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a Pisces. It's a water sign thing.
Yeah, so like that, absolutely. But I do think like, I mean, like I said, I pulled my whole chart and like I absolutely will, and some of it's super spot on and some of it I'm like, okay. But I think it's because of growth. You know,
I feel the same way. Like, I don't feel like Libras are well known for being like super indecisive. I can make decisions all fucking day. If anything, I'm irritated by not having a decision made, not having room. There's nothing more uncomfortable for me than being in a place where it's like there is a decision to be made, but I'm not allowed to be the one to make it. That's tough for me. And that's like,
I need you in my life. This is why we're friends. Because like whenever I need to make a decision, I'm just going to be like, Brianna, call it for me.
No, it's true. Because I mean, even in like our podcast business type of conversations, when we have our business chats, like you're very good at like laying out all of the options. And I know that for you, making the decision is not exactly where you want to be. You'd rather someone make it and then you'll rock with it. If you have a problem with it too, you'll speak up. So I admire that as well. And I already know that about you, but I'm like, you're like giving me the space to make a decision. I know that you're only giving me options that you're already okay with. And I'm like, this is my fucking lane.
Yeah.
I love this. This is a great setup.
We're compatible as fuck.
We are. Sure.
Maybe that's the Pisces in me. I'm very go with the flow in that way. You know?
Oh, yeah. Pisces are also known to be pretty like emotional.
Yeah. I could see that. Like, I feel like I am good at compartmentalizing my emotions now when I need to. Like, but I do believe that is again growth. I think younger, especially as a kid, I was very emotional and like, I mean, that we could also go into like having parents that wouldn't hold space for me, and that's a conversation for another day. But like, they didn't know how to nurture Pisces. Yeah, they didn't.
They did.
We were not compatible.
No, they did give you a body of water though to flip around in. So that's good.
We spent a lot of time in the pool.
Yeah, we sure did.
Okay.
So yeah, let's just wrap that whole thing up. The last thing I was going to say is that I think that if you are on a date and this is something that is interesting to you, like don't try to take it too seriously, because astrology, if it's something that you like, it can be a really good way to like have a vehicle to talk about to help communicate qualities about yourself to another person, help you explore those things about yourself, but also to like facilitate this conversation that feels a little bit more natural to get to know them a little bit. But to your point, don't box yourself in. Don't close people off. Let people tell you who they are. Don't like put that on them because it's very irritating.
Totally. Yeah. Cool.
Cha-ching. Okay. Cha-ching. We are wrapping up the ultimatum, but we are not covering the reunion just yet. We will be next week. Yay.
Yes. Oh my God. So guys, side note, okay? Alex this morning woke up, talking in the third person again. Your girl woke up this morning so not here, like not present. And I call Brie immediately. That was the first thing I did this morning to tell her that I very much forgot about our show because of how busy I am with Splash House. So we're recording this later in the day.
Hence our intro.
Hence our intro. And Brie told me, I was like, I still need to watch the 2 episodes. And she was like, they're going to piss you off. And it took everything. I wanted to text you so bad, but I was like, I'm going to save it for the show. It took everything within me to not text you. And she was right.
Pissed?
I was pissed. I'm so excited to talk about this shit with you. I can't.
Yeah, 100%. The last 2 episodes of The Ultimatum before the reunion are like...
stick my finger down my throat, vomit.
Yeah, it's a vomit city. It was like the last evening with like the original couples, or rather like, you know, the couples that are still remaining, but back with their original partners. And then the morning before their like ultimatum day. And then the last episode is like, you start seeing if people are going to propose to one another, if people are going to like, blah, 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 blah. So, let's just start naming shit. Zay and Ray break up. We open with their dynamic. We find out that Ray is frustrated because Zay was out all night. He says he was running away from his problems. He wanted to just go out, get fucked up, go do his thing. He comes back at 8 a.m. They start brawling. Ray actually hits him, which his behavior is problematic. It was super avoidant. It was super like, I'm going to go numb myself out. That's a problem. Her hitting him is also a fucking problem. It doesn't really matter what your partner does. You should never put your hands on your partner ever for any reason ever at all, unless it's
out of anger,
fucking self-defense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
Unless
self-defense, absolutely. But
fucking nuts. So, yeah, what do you have to say about that?
So, I have a lot of issues with the way Zay was talking to Ray. He was really manipulative and really victim-y, and it's just like, bro, like, first of all, can I just say, like, we have 23-year-olds on this show that are like, I'm ready to get married. And it's like, bitch, your brain hasn't even finished forming yet. Like, it doesn't stop forming till you're 25. And like, I'm speaking from personal experience because I got married at 20. So like, I hear you. I feel you. I get it. Don't do it. Take it from me. Like, wait. Please don't get married before the age of 25. Anyone. Like,
Agreed.
Personal opinion.
Totally
like,
agree.
You don't even, like life is still, you're still growing literally in so many ways. So it's like, if there's one thing anyone takes away from this is like, pump the fucking brakes, enjoy your life, figure out who you are first.
Why are we rushing to the marriage? Why are we rushing to the marriage? The marriage is like this life milestone. It's like, just
it's a tax break. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
let's really not get there. Yeah.
I just figure out how to like deal with your problems. Like every couple has problems, but you need to figure out how to be able to talk about it. Otherwise, what's the point of locking yourself in legally?
Yeah. So let me get off of that soapbox and I'll step onto my next soapbox. Okay.
Okay.
This soapbox is all about, Zay's like, so Ray's trying to bring up like, my issue is with the fact that you completely ignored me. Like, every text, every phone call, you wouldn't just let me know where you were, that you were safe, you were okay, what your plan was or anything like that. And I understand that. I understand wanting to have an idea that your person's safe, whatever, cool. What pissed me off about the way that Zay responded was, after being defensive and saying things like, I don't need to lie to you, you'd really think I'd go out and cheat on you just like that, he's like, he finally apologizes. And so it just got really icky. And then when Ray finally got to a point to where she was like over it and is just like, I can't do this anymore, Zay got super guilt trippy manipulative and was like, if you really loved me like you say you do, it wouldn't be over. And I wanted to come through the TV. I wanted to come through the TV at that comment.
Yeah. It just felt also like a little bit immature. And I think that statement from Zay is really coming from a place of his own like childhood wounds.
Right. Yeah, of course.
So like he's obviously been abandoned by people who were supposed to love him but did not love him in the way that he deserved to be loved. And so his understanding of love means commitment. If you say that he doesn't understand, you can't tell me that you love me and still leave me, because only people who don't love me leave me, right? That's what he's saying.
Right.
And it's
yeah.
I think that it's really frustrating. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was going to say, and the other side of that mentality is, if you love me, I can treat you however I want and you're not allowed to have a reaction to it. And it's like, that's not love though, bro. Like, totally. You need to understand that your girl is hurting because of the actions that you took, that you decided to take. Yeah. She's allowed to have her feelings about that. And if that means that, hey, shoulda, woulda, coulda, whatever, but like what was done, and that's enough of a violation or a breach of trust for her to tap out, you need to respect that. That doesn't mean she doesn't love 100%. You or care about you, or that her feelings for you at the, beforehand weren't genuine. It just means that you crossed the line, which I get that, especially if that behavior was, which she's alluded to, it has been repetitive. And he keeps saying like, you're just going to leave me out. He said something to the effect of like, that happened, so this happens and now you're just going to leave just like that. But it's like, it's not just like that, bro. Like, you've been doing this. So yeah, I'm glad that they parted ways. I really am.
Me too. I think that was a really unhealthy, toxic dynamic that could only be released if they released each other, right?
For real.
And what was really interesting to me that I did not see coming was when he sought out Shanique. Here we go again, using women that we've either dated or our friends as emotional fucking labor. Anyway, that's my soapbox. But he seeks Shanique out for support. They drink. I thought they were going to hook up.
Me too. Yeah.
I'm glad that they didn't, but I thought that they were gonna. And Shanique she basically was like, listen, if you're going to stay out all night at 8 a.m., why in the fuck would you expect Ray to be okay with that? Like, she was basically trying to they were trying to have like a real conversation about the fact that like that is a problem for anyone. It would be a problem for anyone. It should be a problem for anyone. There's no reason to stay until 8 in the morning. What the fuck are you doing? Per Shanique's quote. And she starts to try to break down like, yo, I really think that like you keep bringing up your past, which is clearly a factor in why he behaves the way that he does on many levels. The level that he's talking about is his avoidant, like runaway nature.
Right. Tendencies.
Right. It's like, that's the only way he knows how to deal right now. And Shanique's like, yeah, I keep hearing you talk about this and I believe you. And it sort of just feels like an excuse if you're never really going to do anything different. And he flipped out. And I see this is a tricky debate, right? Because it is true that a lot of the ways in which we maladaptively cope, right, we are like, it's because of our upbringing or our backgrounds or things that we've been through, even if it's not just with our parents or caregivers. But when do we stop making excuses for our behavior with it and start like working on it, So what'd you think?
That's literally what I wrote. And then I said ... Shanique ends up saying the same thing as I just typed out, because look, this is literally what I help people work on is like, because of the childhood trauma that I have, this is how it's impacting my relationships. And I get it because at one point I was there. And, it's not okay to justify our behaviors or treatment of others because of our traumas. That would be the equivalent of, it's so funny. I wrote this post a couple weeks ago and haven't posted it yet, but it's so true. Like, when we look at something like this is so black and white, but I'm just going to use this to paint the picture because it is such a black and white thing. Domestic violence. We could easily say that the abuser that's beating their partner is doing that out of a trauma response, right?
Right.
We could. And I would even venture to say that things like narcissism, I do believe that things like personality disorders of all kinds are really deep down related to trauma. So at what point do we say, it's okay to abuse physically, emotionally, verbally abuse your partner because you have trauma? We would never say that.
We would never say that.
So again, because it's black and white like that, when we look at domestic violence, when we lay our hands on someone else, it's the same fucking thing for verbal and emotional abuse too, right? Like we can't say that, in this one instance, it's not okay, but in these others, it is. And so for Zay's situation that he's describing here, that's exactly what's happening. Him going out and being avoidant and trying to self-soothe by shutting out people closest to him and him just doing whatever he damn well pleases isn't okay to treat someone that way. Right. And so you can't sit there and constantly hurt your partner saying, well, this is my trauma and this is how I am, so deal with it. No, it's this is my trauma. I'm so sorry I hurt you. And moving forward, I'm not going to do that anymore. And actually back that up with your actions. That's what growth is. That's what healing is.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree with that. I think that if Zay really wants to, whoever Zay's partner is really wants to help him like grow away from that, because it's okay if he needs support in that, in breaking a pattern. A good place to start would be curious about when you decided that you needed to leave the conversation that we were having and you needed to go get fucked up and you needed to go be out of the house for the next 12 hours. What was it that you felt like you needed to run away from?
Right.
What were the things that made it really difficult? Why was it difficult to be here? Right. Yeah. And not in a challenging, like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Why couldn't you just be here? No, really curious. Like, okay, so we were let's run it back. Let's run the tape back. We were having this conversation. This is where we were on. at what point did you like feel like you couldn't physically be here anymore? You couldn't like turn in a different tone. Like start there, and that's when the two of y'all will be able to actually discover some shit and replace those behaviors together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's gold. I think like the words curious and intentional are two words that I love, because I think that especially with the work that you and I do, those are the most important like mindsets to have, is like trying to approach your partner with curiosity on like, let me understand you better. I'm curious to know why this is the way that you felt was the best way to handle it, you know, and having a really intentional conversation to figure out how to move forward and actually come together in those moments instead of push each other away. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah. And so then he ends up doing it with Shanique. Same thing. You know, and he takes it as, and he says, you know, why are you going to belittle someone's childhood trauma? She's not belittling you. She is not belittling you. She's validating the experience you've been through. In fact, you're choosing to not hear that part, right? What she did do is hold you accountable. And Zay didn't like that. So it's like, you know, Zay is stuck in victim mindset. Like, clearly he really is. And it's like, hun, sending you so much love. I'm so sorry for the shit that you've had to deal with in your life. You did deserve more as a kid. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And although this trauma isn't your fault, it is your responsibility to fix it. You know, like, it's so true. We don't get to choose the parents we're born to. We don't. Mm-hmm. So the shit that they dish out to us, we really are a victim in that mindset, in that instance. Yeah. As adults, as we come into our own, it is our responsibility to look inward and be like, what about this isn't serving me anymore? And let it go.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ooh, mic drop. So they break up, which then leads, it brings Zay to Shanique, but that was obviously like a turning moment, at least in the viewer's minds. That for us was like, there's no way that Shanique is going to pursue a future with Zay after this. No. Also, Zay was just so fixated on like being with Ray that if I was the one that Zay was like entertaining a relationship after the show, like I'd be like, no, you clearly wanted to be with that girl. Like I'm out.
Yeah.
But we see Ray go right to Jake and basically give him the update and be like, hey, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm single.
Yeah, this whole conversation felt super icky to me.
Yeah, I didn't like it either.
Yeah, because, like, you know, just all the underhanded comments about, like, you know, what everyone says that we should be together. Everyone said, like, she kept kind of painting the picture and, like, pushing the envelope around, like, I'm the girl for you, subliminally, basically. And Jake was eating it up, you know? I will say, Jake did for a hot second say, like, you know, I need to give April a chance to fix it. I don't really believe Jake even truly gave her that chance. I think the second that he left Ray, his mind was already like, I'm over this. I'm not going to go back to April.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Because when Jake looks at Ray and directly says, I want someone like you as a partner, to me, that's like, that sold it all. I was like, I'm done. Like, meaning we know where this is going. So yeah, it was what it was, but it felt icky.
Yeah, I felt for April because the next thing that we see is April and Jake are having lunch with Jake's mom and like his stepdad, I think. Yeah. And mom is like, April really is good at hearing what she wants to hear. That's what I noticed from this episode, because she's hearing mom like talk about, you know, mom was trying to like be kind of diplomatic and be like, like, you know, I love you. Like, I think that you guys are really good together. Like, April, you've always been a part of our family. You know, she was just like, she was saying some really like beautiful, warm and welcoming things. But she also was just like, you know, there are things that you and Jake have in your relationship that like some issues that Ray and Jake did not have, and also vice versa. So let's like talk about that a little bit. And April shot that down. All she's hearing is la 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 la, you love me, la 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 la. And then it was bad, because the thing is like the two of them are treating this experience as like, we've learned so much about ourselves in this however this has gone. And what I'm really seeing is that, like, at least in April's case, like, that was a lot of lip service, and probably for Jake too, because he just sort of was like, I'm done with these problems over here in the April camp. I'm just going to go to Ray and just go have like a new, fun, exciting, flirty relationship. And for April, it's like, I've been trying to make you see that I'm like a different version of myself, like a more mature version of myself. But really, I'm just waiting for you to get your shit together and decide that you want to marry me, which tells me, and it should tell us as an audience, that you actually haven't learned anything from this experience. You've just been like putting on the front.
Yeah. Yeah. It was weird, dude. It was like, I never really saw Jake or April really try and like meet each other and have a conversation around what do we need to fix about this relationship.
And Mom gave really good advice. Mom gave really good advice. She said, the two of you have had this opportunity to be without each other. You're saying that you've learned all of these things that you want to do differently. I recommend this for couples who choose to take a break, who are just in the heat of a fucking cycle that has been going on for 10 years or however long. Like, if you have identified the things that you need in your relationship, sit down, take the emotions out of it if you can, put the list together, talk about it. They really could have benefited from that conversation. Yeah. Mom's a smart lady.
Yeah, of all the moms, I will say I think she has the best head on her shoulder, just from the way I've seen her talk to Jake and April, in the context of their relationship. So props for Mom. But yeah, snaps. Snaps for Mom. Yeah, I don't feel like they handled it as a mature couple at all, because, when you, just like you said, take the emotions out of it. It's like, there's a part of relationship building to me that's very logical and businesslike, in the sense of like, for example, establishing a relationship with a business partner, you're going to want to understand how they spend their money, because it's like, if you're trusting to share a business account with someone, that's something to take into consideration. How do you spend your money? What are your priorities, right? You're going to be serious about that. You're going to be serious about how someone handles stress, because what's going to happen in a business when someone gets super stressed out and shit's hitting the fan? Are they going to meet you in the middle? Are they going to communicate through that? Or not? Are they going to disappear and pull a Zay? Like, what's going to happen? And so, yes, falling in love is very emotional, and that's beautiful. And we need to keep our heads on our shoulders and think logically about, is this compatible for the rest of my life? Like, are we aligned? Do we handle things similarly? And if we don't, am I able to get past that or through that with them, right? Are they willing to work on it? Because it's like, if someone gets stressed and retail therapy is their way of dealing with that, you need to know. And it sounds like that's actually a factor that came up with Jake and April, is she likes to spend her money on the things she likes to spend her money on. So, which is why he kept saying financially secure, whatever. So yeah, I mean, they missed an opportunity there for sure. And just Jake went, I mean, ... I'll leave that for later. I'm not going to spoil that.
Yeah. We won't spoil it. Yeah, it was an interesting back and forth, but I agree with you. I think that it was pretty easy to see where like Jake's head was at
not there
through these conversations. Not there.
Ooh. Madeline.
Then we see Madeline. No. Yeah, Madeline and Colby, who are trying to enjoy. Okay, this is what I got from this last dinner that they had. They're trying to enjoy their last dinner. And I think that they're sort of like recapping their experience. Madeline saying that she's super hopeful, which is weird because she had this conversation with her mom, and her mom obviously has concerns. But her mom doesn't just have concerns about Colby. She has concerns about Madeline being ready for a commitment like marriage at her young age. Like we discussed previously, none of these people should be fucking getting married right now. No. Like, please wait.
Yes.
Oh, God. Okay, anyway. So she's like, everyone's concerned. And for this whole fucking show, Madeline could not love Colby or like Colby less.
She talked so much shit to Randall and to her friends. Her whole friends had a laundry list of things to say about Colby.
Everyone. We have had 4 weeks of our own podcast built on
Colby
the foundation. Yeah, built on the foundation of how much Madeline hates Colby. And she's like, I'm so optimistic. And I'm like, girl, about what?
She was like, I feel like we're in a really good spot. She said something like that, and I was like, what? What have you been watching and experiencing? Because I have not been there for that.
None of it. And I think that Madeline says something in her conversation with her mom that sort of gives me a better window as to why she stays on the Colby carousel, which is having to do with it being really important for her to feel loved and to be like wanted and to be a priority. And for her, Colby will always make her a priority. And he does so in a way that she really responds to. I think that he is good at knowing what that is, and he does it in one lane. And he misses all of these other opportunities to actually round out the making her a priority, right? And also, Madeline's got shit to work on in her own relationship. So it's not just on Colby.
No, there was a slip she said with her mom that I was like, textbook avoidant attachment style, like Madeline. It came out when she was like, I find something wrong with everyone I date. That's an avoidant, like that's textbook avoidance. Like they talk about that, they nitpick and hyper focus on the reasons why it won't work. And so my issue with Colby is like she's been very hyper focused on the things she doesn't like about Colby. That's what we've heard for the last several weeks. We've heard this one thing that she really likes about him, which is this, he makes her feel wanted and loved, but it's paired with so much like low-key narcissistic qualities that has this push-pull dynamic in their relationship that it's like, of course that's why you feel wanted and loved, because he pushes you away and treats you like shit in all these other ways regularly. So then when he does give you the breadcrumbs of like, you look beautiful tonight, or, you're my person and I love you so much, that's why it feels so intoxicating.
Yeah.
So I'm not calling him a straight up like diagnosable, but there are some tendencies there, and I even saw it in the last episodes where there's
a bit of gaslighting, and she touches on this being an issue for her.
Finally.
Which is that like he has yet to take responsibility for the fact that like even after he moved into the apartment and they spend their like 3 weeks together united, he went out. He had like a Zay moment, but it was before Zay. He did the pre-Zay. If anything, Zay had a Colby moment. So we see him. He goes out. He stays out all night. He doesn't come back until like the next morning. We remember that. But we find out that he stayed with a girl. So he's not saying that he is apologetic about that, and if anything, he's like, I did it to make it like real, essentially saying in not so many words, like, I wanted you to know what you could be giving up, like I wanted you to feel something, and that is really problematic, like really
super
really,
manipulative,
really fucking weird, super manipulative. Thank you. And it clearly bothered Madeline, and it for some reason that for me would have been, and she says it, this is clearly like the issue, right? It's like she'll make him look at her in the eyes and she'll be like, it's done, I can't do this. And then we'll go home and she's being videotaped and she's walking her little floofy dogs and she's like, I can't be with someone. How stupid would I look if I were to commit to being with this person? And we are recognizing that is like the behavior of someone, not of someone who is stupid and doesn't have respect for herself, but someone who's caught in a really toxic cycle with someone who, to her credit for pointing out, is not able to take ownership of any fault of his, any responsibility.
Yeah, it was really hard to watch. And yeah, girl, it was a toxic conversation between the two of them, and the way they were treating each other, and the way that Colby was so weird about everything, and like you said, gaslighty, dismissive, manipulative. It was just weird. It got icky. So he ends up saying like, I feel bad about what I did, but I did what she asked. And it's like, no, you didn't. She didn't ask you to go hook up with other girls. She didn't ask you to go see another girl at 4 a.m. So how in your mind is that her fault? and woe are you, like woe is Colby, woe is Colby for being the victim, for being the victim of this whole thing when he was the one that gave her the ultimatum to begin with. It's just like, okay, so much blame shifting happening. I wanted to throw my shoe at the screen.
It was bad. And so then when it's paired with all of these things are major red flags, and Madeline is not even ignoring them, but it's paired with the thing that Madeline feels like she really needs in her life and in her relationships, which is to feel wanted, loved, and chosen. Like you said, those elements are so intoxicating for her that she's willing to stay, because the fact is that Madeline has not done a very good job up until this point in her life of figuring out how to provide herself with that kind of validation and that kind of love and that kind of self-respect. If she was in practice of doing that with herself, which I hope one day she starts that journey, because it will definitely fucking serve her, she wouldn't need that from her relationship with Colby, and she could actually just dismiss Colby for the red flaggy toxic behaviors that she's already very good at pointing out.
Yeah. Yep. The end.
That's it.
Ding. Next episode.
Okay. So we have Shanique and Randall, who I will say have a really interesting conversation on their last night together. Yeah. Which I felt was the healthiest thing. Actually, it gave me a little bit of an appreciation for what this whole stupid ass show, The Ultimatum, is actually could be served for. Right. Because for some reason, this experience, even as messy as it was, allowed Shanique and Randall to come back to each other and actually have some insight about the things that they needed to work on that were going to pair well with both of their needs in their relationships. It touched on both of their needs. Like, Shanique needed to fall the fuck back and let Randall speak up. She wanted Randall to speak up. And Randall needed that space to be able to weigh in and feel that that was respected. And those are two very specific behaviors that were really creating barriers for both of them in no matter what relationship they were in. Mm-hmm. But especially theirs together. So they came back together and they verbalized it. That's the thing that we really need to be looking for when we're trying to work on, okay, how are we going to do this differently this time with the same partner? Y'all need to be able to verbalize the shit that you are intending to work on. Because if you can't say it, it's not happening.
Not gonna happen. I say that all the time. It's like, so many people ask me, like, is it bad? Because there's this saying that goes around, like, exes are exes for a reason. And I do believe that we can be with the right person at the wrong time. But I agree with you, and I say that all the time. This is a conversation you need to have. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So the conversation that needs to happen isn't, I love you, I miss you, let's get back together. The conversation that needs to happen is, oh shit, this is how I fucked up. This is what I'm committed to doing moving forward. Here is what I need from you. And then that needs to flip, right? The other person needs to reciprocate. Okay, this is what I'm committed to doing. I hear you. These are your needs. This is what I need from you. All right. Are we committed to actually taking action steps? This isn't just some fluffy lip service. Okay, let's go. And that, I think a lot of people, because of the emotional aspect of relationships, they forget to have those talks. And those are the talks that are going to either make or break your relationship. If you don't have them, it's going to fall apart.
Yeah. 100%.
So
when is someone going to transcribe this show and just pass it out to every mailbox in the world? People need to fucking hear this shit, because
ditch the script needs a script.
Yeah, ditch the script needs a script. That's really funny.
It's the antithesis of our show.
Literally.
And what I think is really funny about this interaction we see with Randall and Shanique, because I agree with you, it was so healthy, it was so good, and then some egos get wounded and some daggers low-key come out, and I thought that was interesting to kind of witness, because it's like, unless you know what that looks like, you would miss it. But
it's very
so basically
nonverbal.
It's very nonverbal. So like it's all in the tone and the body language. So Shanique takes offense at the fact that Randall's very much saying like, look, I'm going to make the decision that's best for me because this is my life. So like, I'm not taking into consideration anyone else's feelings. And that really bothered her because Shanique, as she's been saying, even in the last argument they had, is like, she's like, I want you to feel emotional that you're not with me right now. I want you to sit in the corner and cry that you miss me. Right. And so when Shanique in that moment hears Randall express like, I'm going to put me first and make this decision for me, which I'm sorry, I agree with that. Like, totally. That is a huge, I understand how Shanique can take offense to that. I don't want to invalidate her. I get how that can be triggering. At the same time, Shanique should be doing the same damn thing for herself. It's her life. 100%. She needs to consider what she wants out of her marriage. And so you could tell she takes offense to it. And, she responds and she's like, well, that's very honest, which is like her way of being like, ow, ooh, that stings. And then, she makes a comment back that it's like, basically alluding to like, yeah, I need to figure out what I want to. And then compares it to Ray. She's like, Ray ended up just choosing to be single. And she kind of hinted at like, that's maybe something I'm going to do too. And I personally feel just based off of the interaction in the context, it was to kind of kick Randall in the gut a little bit. Yeah. Like you could still lose me too,
Which is in its own right is also like manipulative. Like we should not be like, we should not be throwing little subtle jabs at one another that is intended to have some sort of like decision changing impact. Yeah.
I think like if for me, because I think let's define manipulation, because I think a lot of people struggle to even understand what that is. And that's exactly it to me. It's saying or doing something with the intention of causing a certain outcome. Yeah. Like I really feel that's outcome. A desired outcome, because you are saying or doing something from an ingenuine place in order to reach the destination that you so desperately want to achieve. And that's we don't want that. So
also, it's not bound to always work. When it comes to this stuff, like I really think like don't lay low. Like let people know how you feel. Let people know what your expectations are for the dynamic that you have, that you're building with someone. But if someone wants to be there, let them be there on their own free will. If someone wants to leave, let them do that on their own free will.
Yes.
Let them go.
And you want to know why people tap into manipulative behaviors instead of doing that? I know you know this, but for the audience listening, because vulnerability is exactly what Bria is describing. When you lay it out, your own cards, your own feelings, your own emotions, your own needs, your own desires, when you lay all of that out, I'm getting a little emotional, to someone saying, this is my soul, this is what I need, and this is how I feel about you, and this is what I want with you, it's so scary. And so the way we hide behind that are all of these icky, weird comments that are subliminal messages, right? Instead of direct communication. And it only festers and it only makes more emotional drama. Whereas if you can just rip the Band-Aid off and be like, you know what? I don't care what the outcome is. I'm going to be true to myself and call it like it is. This is how I'm feeling. This is what I want. This is what I need. Yay or nay, right? That's true, honest communication. And yes, it's terrifying. It is the healthiest thing you can do, period. Like, that's why people end up leaning on manipulative tactics. It is not the way to go. It's just not.
Right, because I hear what you're saying. It's like you're afraid to put it all out there. So let me say this thing that doesn't reveal as much about myself, so that but with the same outcome. I want you to be here, so I'm going to say this thing instead of just telling you I want you to be here and risking feeling broken open from the chest. Yeah. Instead, I'm going to tell you, you could lose me, like so and so lost them.
Yes, it's so icky.
Gross.
Yeah.
But we do it all the time. It's totally normalized.
It is normalized. Well, and I think it's been trained because, we talk about generational trauma, and it's like if your parents don't feel comfortable being vulnerable and being like, I love you and all of that. Yeah. Ooh, we can have that's a whole other podcast episode, but it is. Yeah. It's trained. It's learned behavior. A baby doesn't come out knowing how to manipulate. They don't. They watch it in their environment and they're like, oh, okay. So that's how I need to survive. Let me adapt to that behavior.
Totally.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So
that's a nugget there. Okay. So, I mean, that's everyone. Shall we get to the final episode?
Let's get to the end result.
The ultimatum day episode. We already know that Ray and Zay are nay. Ray and Zay are nay. They are nay. We start with Shanique and Randall, who, by no surprise here, end up getting engaged.
Yay!
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't let you drum roll very long.
I think that was a perfect amount.
But what I will say is that, you know, happy for them. I do think that they got the most out of this experience as a couple across everyone else. I thought that Randall's proposal was very sweet. He was so emotional. Everything that he was saying was like, it's the shit that you dream of. It's one of those moments where you're looking at your partner and your partner is saying things about you or how they feel about you, which is all just like, you could not feel more seen as an individual by the person that you want to be seen by the most. And that is so beautiful. And I hope that people get to have that genuinely in like all of their lives, because it's such a privilege. And that moment can also feel kind of unreal. Like, is this really happening? Am I hearing this person? Like, and I wonder what was going through Shanique's head, because I think that she was just like fucking yoked on the fact that she was about to get engaged. So I hope she didn't black out, because it was beautiful.
It was so cute. Well, hopefully they get like a raw, unedited version of it, you know, because they had a whole professional film crew there. True. Hopefully they get access to that so she can really hear. Because I'm with you. You do like the amount of like excitement and adrenaline that's running through your body. You're like, what did you say?
You blink and miss it, but like I wouldn't want to miss that. It was gorgeous.
Yeah, that's like, I want that on like a tape recording, so on my bad days I can listen back to it.
Yeah, I need that on a bad day, 100%.
So they're engaged. Wish you all the best, Shanique and Randall.
Yay, good for them.
Okay, moving on.
You know where we're leaving for last. I'm not even talking about that yet.
Nope.
Okay, so here is a moment with Jake where I knew exactly what was going to happen.
And I know why. We both wrote it down.
You had the same moment?
Oh, yeah.
So
the exact words.
Jake's being interviewed, and he says something in preparation of everyone, I guess, getting in a car and driving to the fucking woods. He's like, I just want to get this over with. And I was like, that says it all. That's not the statement of a man who's about to propose to his girlfriend. Nope. So what I'm pissed off about, what?
No, I'm just
Do you want to hear why I'm pissed off? I'm pissed.
Yeah, I do.
Because I want to know. In this conversation between Jake and April, unless you picked out some specific stuff that got said, the thing that stood out to me the most was that he lied to her and he told her, me and Ray aren't going to be like running away together after this. Yeah. It could not be more literally what they were about to do. Yep.
So I'm with you. I wrote down all the same freaking quotes. So he breaks up with April. April, you deserve more, babe. Don't, you develop that confidence for real girl, because you are right on the edge of it. You're going to be fine. You're 23. She's one of the 23-year-olds. You got it. You got time. Yeah. You'll be fine.
Tits forward.
Tits forward. Yes. Yes, you show off those titties, girl. Okay.
Get after it.
He greets Ray the complete opposite. He's like,
gorgeous.
Yep, there she is. Hey, gorgeous. So immediately I was like, all right. And then he whips out 2 tickets to anywhere. And I'm just like,
wait. Pause.
What?
How does one go about buying 2 tickets to anywhere?
I know. It's just an
envelope.
What does that
mean? Could you imagine calling your travel agent going, hi, I'd like to purchase 2 tickets. Where are you going? Anywhere. I'm not sure yet. I'd like to go anywhere, but I'd like to buy them first.
Yeah, it's just an envelope, and it's just an offer, guaranteed. It's just like, I don't understand that. I mean,
2 tickets to anywhere.
If you're the travel agent listening to this and you know how that shit works, you let me know, okay? Because Brie and I want to go to anywhere.
We want to go to anywhere. Sounds great.
But yeah, it was like polar opposite. And then they just have a great little zesty makeout session. It was what it was. I was cringing because I'm like, you guys, fine, go off with your badass selves. But like, do I really have hope for that? No, because I think I think they're chasing dopamine right now. That's what I think is going on.
100%. 100%. I think Jake's decided that April's more trouble than she's worth, from his perspective. And I think that Ray is not satisfied with being on her own. Like, she should have come away from that relationship with Zay and been like, you know what, maybe I need a minute. I would have loved, this would have been this would have been the ultimatum ending of my dreams.
Green flag.
Yeah, major green flag. If Jake came to her and was like, listen, babe, I got 2 tickets to anywhere. Let's get on this plane and let's go to the abyss. And I wish that she was just like, I so appreciate this gesture and I have loved our time together. And I'm not necessarily ready to like put that all away, but I really gotta be by myself right now. Can I call you in a little? Can we like revisit the tickets? You know, like
it would have been a badass move. It would have been the healthy move. Yeah. Because there's no way you come out of an argument with Zay, punching him in the chest, emoting that hard, to I'm completely over that. I'm going to start this new relationship with Jake and not bring any of that baggage or emotional stress into that relationship. It just doesn't work like that. That's the other thing. Just not to backtrack, but when she was having that conversation with Jake before any ultimatum decisions had been made, you know, she's this is also manipulative. She put like, I'm really going to say this. Gnarly. Ray really like, she buried the nest there. Like she buried the egg. She said, listen, we used to fight like me and Zay have been fighting about you. When someone comes to you, when someone that you've been dating comes to you and was like, me and my partner have been fighting about you, I know that sounds like that should just be like man, that's sad, we've been fighting about you. But that person who's on the receiving end is like fucking elated, bro. Elated. Yep. Their minds are turning. They're like, oh my God, I had no idea I was such a big deal. I was such a threat. Yeah. You don't tell someone that shit unless you want them to believe that. Oh, 100%. So, and that's the thing. Like, you know, we've seen good and bad from all of these people, I think, by now. Okay, maybe some more than others, but you know, with Ray, 100%, that whole dinner date with Jake and whatever chicken wings he ate or whatever, which by the way, I'm so hungry right now. That sounds so good. Someone get me some chicken dinner. We're gonna get you some. Yeah, but that whole conversation was 100% just calculated. Like, I'm, like you said, planting the seed, putting this idea in his mind that we are going to be together, that he wants me, that blah, 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 positioning herself in that way. She's basically saying, like, I'm available. You've been a threat. I'm serious about you, without saying, if she went to that table and was like, listen, I'm just going to say it like it is. Zay and I broke up. I have real feelings for you. I want to be with you. You do with that what you will. She could have saved her a lot less time. Again, vulnerability, honesty, true commitment, too scary, right? And so instead she was like, I need to know what's happening with you in April before she said anything. Yeah. It's like, again, calculated. Like, and I'm not saying that she sits there and maliciously is like, and here's my crotch. No, she just wants what she wants. And she doesn't want to be alone. She doesn't want to be alone. Being alone isn't so bad, guys. It's really not. Being alone. I'm alone all the fucking time. Yeah, it's fine. I think it's the idea and the value that how we define aloneness that fucks with people's minds. It's like being alone really isn't that bad. Like, in fact, I would venture to say it's almost like a playground, because it's like you have no one to consider, no one to report to, right? No Ray to call at midnight and be like, I'm okay, I'm safe, right? I'm just having drinks with girls. Like, you don't have any of that to consider. You do what you damn well please. You go wherever you want to go. You walk around naked. You eat what you want to eat, whatever the hell you want. It's your world, quite literally. The second you have a relationship, you need to actually consider, right, the other person. And so I think people far too often are like, I can't be alone. What does this mean about me? Because they define their worth based off of whether they're in a relationship or not. And it's like, nah, that isn't the vibe. You are worthy regardless of your relationship status. And so this idea that we have of being alone means I'm not wanted, I'm not loved, I'm not good enough, I'm not social enough, I'm not popular enough, or whatever, no one cares about me, right? It ain't true.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're telling me that I can do literally whatever I want, whenever I want. I can look however I want and no one can say shit to me. I can flirt with whoever I want. I can text whoever I want.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? No one's going through my phone. It's like, and again, don't get me wrong. Like there's also clearly value in being in a relationship if that's something that's important to you. It's important to me, but it's like, okay, well, I find my way to the relationship that I believe is going to be good for me. I'm going to have a good fucking time over here.
Yep. It's like
and by myself.
Yeah, it's like that mindset you and I said a couple weeks ago. It's like how, like, reframe it to be like, well, how much longer do I have left to be single, right? It's like, flip the script in your mind, because it's fine. I think wanting a relationship is great, but wanting a relationship when you're so desperate to be chosen that you feel being on your own is such a bad thing, that's dangerous mindset territory.
Totally.
Yeah.
So they run away. And speaking of people who should also be alone, Madeline should be alone. Madeline should be alone. Like, I could tell that you want to go fuck other people. Go fuck other people. Release yourself. However, that's not what happens.
I can't.
Are you even prepared to talk about this?
No, okay. I'm not.
Basically, I'm going to just say it, and then we're going to explain why it's such a problem, right? Yeah. That's what we're going to do. That's what we came here to do, right?
Okay.
So, after all of that, after all of Madeline's feelings about how much this is the wrong relationship to be in and how much she would look like X, Y, and Z if she continued, she got right back on the carousel. She meets up with Colby. Colby obviously proposes to her. I don't think that was going to be a surprise to anyone.
No.
The real surprise here is that she said yes. I'm surprised about that. And then Colby was like, we could get married right now. I have someone waiting in the fucking wings to marry us right now. And I'm going to tell you, so first of all, she said yes, and then they did get married. That is actually the most manipulative shit that I've seen yet.
Yeah, he imprisoned her. It was not romantic. It was like, I am going to capture you here.
He said, I don't want you to have another moment to even think about this.
Yeah, it's so gnarly.
He didn't actually say that, but that's exactly what he meant.
Exactly.
He was not interested. He was not interested in her having space to think about it herself. He wasn't interested in their space for the two of them to have another relationship low where she'd think about it, because they've been through that pattern already. He didn't want room for her mom to say something. He didn't want room for her friends to say something. He didn't want room for shit.
Yep.
And
it
so,
was scary. So bad. So blech. Like that's, I have a visceral reaction to it. It was I can't. I feel for folks like Madeline, because at one point that was me. And it's like, it's so sad to I mean, especially on TV, like, and as big of a platform as Netflix is, it's like, watch, and this is it, guys. Like, people don't understand why domestic abuse victims stay with their person, even though they quite literally are being so abused. It's because Stockholm Syndrome is quite literally real. And if you don't know what Stockholm Syndrome is, it's when you develop strong feelings for your abuser, okay? And look at exactly what's going on with Colby and Madeline. Like, I'm not saying she's completely innocent in this. She has her own toxic traits too. But this push-pull dynamic that Colby has laid the foundation of their relationship on, which is what has her coming back over and over again because of these, like Brianna and I said a second ago, these intoxicating feelings that mean so much to her. But then in between all of those lovey-dovey moments, what is he doing? He's shifting blame. And she even said that at that dinner. I'm tired of pretending that I'm the problem. She said that. And it's like, ladies, if you ever relate to Madeline, that is a huge mirror to hold up to yourself and say, when am I gonna choose me, right? Like when is Madeline gonna choose her? Because she did not. She married this dude, and I'm terrified for the fallout of that relationship, because we all know ideally she leaves, but it usually gets really bad before someone chooses to finally leave and stick to leaving. But when relationships are that volatile, the volatility that you see with Colby and her, you know, when you smell smoke, there's a fire. And that's exactly what's going on with these two. So it was hard for me to watch. I really feel for her, and you know, and I'm not sitting here saying he's going to abuse her physically, but we've already watched how he treats her in other categories, emotionally, verbally, all of that. So it was hard. And that's
also,
all I have to
like,
say.
The two of them, even if we weren't noting and we weren't seeing all of like the really big red flag behavior that we've spent a lot of time like pointing out, if it was even just the fact that the two of them couldn't get through resolution ever, when they hit conflicts, and they just literally never ever resolved it, always ended with one of them leaving, the two of them in this experience of what we have had the opportunity to see, they have not once on either side figured out how to change their patterns to have to show what some sort of projection of like what a healthier future in their relationship could look like. We're not seeing it. They haven't done it. They don't even know what that is. They can't seem to get it out of one another. So what makes you think that this relationship is going to get better from here, or you don't even know what you're working on?
No, there was no growth to them as a couple, as boyfriend and girlfriend. And it's like, and this happens a lot. People get married thinking that next step will like fix their relationship. Same thing with having babies. It's like, oh, if we just have babies, everything's going to get better. No, if it exacerbates your problems, it makes it worse, because you're adding on another stressor. So I feel for them. I really do, because it's gonna be a bumpy road. Like, and I can say that with the utmost confidence, because like you just said, there was no conversation around what do I need to do better? What do you need to do better? What do we need to do together? You know, it was just, let's follow our feelings. I'm shocked. I was shocked that she said yes.
Me too.
I was shocked. I was like, what?
I know.
Dumbfounded.
I know.
I still kind of am, because I just finished watching these 2 hours ago. So like,
I don't get it, dude. I really like I just don't know. It's hard for me because I'm not in the cycle, right? And when you're not in the cycle, it's like the exit is so clear. Yeah. Because when I look at it, and I want to acknowledge that that's my lens, when I look at it, I'm like, oh my God, I'd rather choose to be alone every day than to continue to put up with that bullshit. Even if like my stuff contributed to the problem, which it always does. I would be like, I clearly got some stuff to work on. You got your own stuff. I've been in this before. I've been in this. My last relationship was, I haven't thought about this yet. It was a lot like this. It was happening, and it was long distance, but it was a lot like this. And I remember the day that I was like so tired of hearing all of the fucking false alarms and all of the dramatic, like, you're like, this isn't good enough for me. And I was like, okay, great, then I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. I don't need to deal with this. I'm relieving myself. I'm taking out the trash here now.
Yes.
For both of us. So you have your fit. I got like 46 WhatsApp messages because I was in Europe at the time. I got 46 WhatsApp messages, and I ignored all of them because we didn't have any more business with one another anymore
to discuss.
It was done. Yeah, there was no more business.
It's very similar. Yeah, that's very similar to how my narcissistic ex and I ended, because I was just like very unemotional about it at that point. I was so numb because like the cycle was so predictable and so gnarly that like by the time I got to I remember this so well. The last night I saw him, he did this like power play. He said this really manipulative text, and I just sat there on the couch reading this text, and I was like laughing. I was like, this is so funny to me now, because I could finally see very clearly what was happening. And I was just like, goodbye.
Yeah.
And I mean, in his narcissistic nature, for a good month and a half after that, nonstop love bombing via email, all different kind of like, you know, trying to hoover. But I was like, bye, Felicia, I'm not playing this game.
Yeah, you're like, I'm out.
But it gets to that point to where you're kind of like, okay. And Madeline,
I think maybe
I thought she was there.
Me too. I thought she was there too. But I think, you know, it's easy to place some judgments on her watching her behavior over the show for the last couple months, because you're just sort of like, you clearly don't want to be here with this person. So like, you're just, you know, it was easy for us to be like, you're being mad rude. Like, you're rude. Like, if you don't want to be in this relationship, then get the fuck out. But I think now getting like a bit more of the full picture, we'll never have the full picture, but a bit more of the full picture, and actually like you and I relating to being in her position a little bit. It's like, yeah, you can absolutely fucking hate being with someone, and all of like the worst parts of your relationship or the worst days of your life, in some respects. And it's like, and you still make yourself look like a fool because of their influence, their impact in these like moments of grandeur. Yeah.
So, that is that. I really can't wait to see the reunion, because in my mind, I'm like, how does someone like Colby watch back a Netflix show where his Madeline, his now wife, is talking so much shit to everybody? That whole friend group, how is Colby going to talk to those friends now? Because he's going to hear what they have to say about him.
What I like, how are the other contestants, the other couples, going to talk to Madeline to be like, you were riding Randall's dick for 8 weeks and you're married to the dude in the hat?
That I actually wrote that down. I was like, I did not appreciate him wearing that for this big day when he knows how she feels about that hat. I think it's fine that it's a gimmick, and if it's going to be like one of those things that they kind of laugh at, but on a day as serious as proposing and then marrying your person, wouldn't you have a little bit of respect for them? In my mind, I mean, because I'm now going full analytical on him, I'm like, I did not appreciate that at all. I felt like that was a tactic of like, I'm going to wear this and see how you react because this is who I am type thing. Like, it didn't feel good.
There's also something a bit symbolic. Okay, so a lot of times when people are hella manipulative, and especially narky, are like, they're very, which again, we can't like, we're not about to diagnose, and we have like snippets of his personality from a show.
Right.
But, you know, just calling shit out like we see it. The act of having her get married away from all of her family and friends is very isolative. So that's what happens in like a relationship with a narcissist, right? It's like a lot of isolation from everything else that's going on around them. And so to put that on her just felt really symbolic of like, yeah, I'm actually physically isolating you, and I'm keeping you away from all of the people who probably would have wanted to be there on the day that you got married. She even had to have a second to fucking think about it.
No.
Oh, that was a crazy moment.
It was so, my jaw was on the floor, and I had to like get a pulley system to reel it back up because it was there. I was just like mind blown, legitimately. Like, so red flag, green flag.
I mean, the red flag has to be Colby proposing. Colby proposing and initiating getting married on that same day. That is just the scariest. It's also my worst nightmare. Not getting married.
I mean, you would say no. You would be like, no, I'm good with the engagement. That's one milestone for the day. Let's write this engagement a little bit.
100%. Yeah. My worst nightmare is someone like steamrolling the fucking wedding and being like, yeah, we're going to do it right now. And you're going to be in like this little very casual outfit. Like,
yeah, the sundress and wedges. And I have jeans and a button down on with this hat that you love.
Yeah. I I started the episode saying I love making decisions. You've literally created my hell. I can make 0 decisions. No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry for you.
My red flag is going to be Colby related in the blame shifting. The whole like, I did it for you.
Okay,
I made out and went to this girl's room for you. I kept sexually texting this person for you.
Bad.
No.
Bad. That's so bad.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Nope. Okay, green flags. Okay, I know what my green flag is. Do you know what your green flag is?
No, you go first.
Okay, my green flag is with Madeline, realizing.
Shut up.
My green flag is with Madeline being like, what kind of self-respect would I have to be with someone and marry someone who is incapable of taking responsibility for their own shit? That was a green flag moment for Madeline. And I was like, boss bitch move. I was so proud of her. I was like, yes, girl, do it. Be done with this dude. I'm unfortunately disappointed, but you know, I get it. I get the cycle. Okay, whatever. But the green flag, I am going to celebrate the fact that you at least had that moment of awareness.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. She deserves that. And I want her, hopefully, maybe she'll hear this one day and she can nurture that voice. That voice is the voice that's speaking up, that's coming from within her. That's like her intuition to be like, hey, this is not good. This is not good. This is not good. That's not good. It's not good. It's not good.
Listen to your gut.
In the future, listen to your gut because your gut was telling you a correct thing. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. My green flag is both. It's the conversation, the first half of Shanique and Randall having like a very vocal itemization of the things that they both learned that they needed to do differently. Because it's one thing to just know that for yourself, but to share that with your partner is what's going to take that growth to a whole new level, because your partner really needs to hear from you the things that you are aware that you're trying to work on. You don't want to just do this covertly and be like, I'm working on this thing. I was just hoping you'd notice. No. Know what you're working on and tell them so that they can join you in that journey. They can be there with you and you can hold each other accountable like fucking adults. No one should be getting married under the age of 25. I totally agree with you.
I know.
It's really bad.
It's so bad.
Like
you know,
children.
and just to like piggyback off of what Brie was saying, like to give you a tool, and this kind of like in my mind is related to parts language. So it's like a part of me this and a part of me that. We've talked about that before. But something else is just owning that. Hey, I'm working on speaking up for myself. Is now a good time for me to bring something up that's I've been kind of overanalyzing? Right?
Yeah.
Like own it. Just say that in your relationship, because what it does is it allows the other person to be empathetic and be like, and also celebrate you. Like, yeah, okay, good for you for speaking up. Awesome. What's up? You know? Yeah. It's like, use that. Just be vulnerable. Say what you need to say. That John Mayer song comes up. You know?
Say what you need to say. Track. Say what you need to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Facts. Okay. We did it.
This was a great episode.
Under 2 hours.
Look at that.
Such a great. I'm really proud of us because
Me too.
I was going to say this after we wrapped, but oh man, like you're running on fumes. I was a little tired and we made it happen. Pushed that shit out. Yeah.
Yes, we did, baby. So if you like our show, please leave us a rating, a review, some stars, some love. We always love it. Plus, it helps us grow. And if you like this episode, snap a screenshot, post it to your IG story, and tag us at Ditch the Script Pod.
Yep. You can also go to our website, ditchthescriptpod.com, to submit a question. You can apply to have a free mini session with us, 30 minutes of solicited advice.
Brie and Alex.
Because you're asking for it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Solicited advice. Directly speaking to some issues that you might be having. So do that there.
Do that. Yeah, we'd love to have you. Other than that, see you on the next one, guys. Bye.
Okay, bye.